What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Westerbros. It is, 11 o'clock tonight? 11 o'clock Sunday. We just finished watching Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 5, the penultimate episode.
Andy's favorite.
That's right.
Can never say that
We're
word.
increasing the vocab. I'm gonna have a take right now that I might regret. But I'm positive will be disagreed with. But loved the episode.
That's fine.
Loved the episode, and I'll tell you why. I know it will not be a popular take, but I love the episode because I have been so disappointed this season because everything was so predictable that I was pleasantly surprised by unpredictable endings for characters, even if they weren't the endings that were the most creative or the ones I wanted. I was like, thank God. Okay, so Jaime and Cersei die by some bricks. Fine. I'm okay with. I'm like, and I understand we want to see Arya jump in with someone's mask, and that would have been a really cool ending if Arya was the one hugging Cersei in that moment and keep me and my baby safe, and all of a sudden you just saw a stab go right into,
neck was gonna snap.
Or the neck would have been like that would have been cooler. Don't get me wrong, but at least it was. There was a little part of me that was like, yeah, that's right. Like Cersei didn't go down from anybody else. You know what I mean? Like it was bricks that had to take Cersei out. It was nobody's hands. You know, it was just an unpredictable ending, and I feel like this season so far have been so predictable. I was finally happy to see. Like, I didn't predict the Hound double death. I know some of you guys might have seen that.
The Clegane takeout?
Yeah, I think I saw that coming.
Some people did.
Clegane was coming out of there alive. Yeah.
I had a feeling that he was going to die maybe saving someone else, but I like the idea that he wanted to murder his brother so much that he was willing to kill himself for it. And
well, he said that only like you don't want to be like me. Only revenge drives me.
Right.
So it didn't matter if he died. He had to get his final revenge.
And I think there's a cool moment in the episode where like all of a sudden Arya gets in touch with her humanity again. Yeah. Right. Her one singular focus was this list, and she was this parallel universe of the Hound in a weird way. He is this strong, disgusting person, and she's like this innocent, adorable little thing, and they both have the same objective. And then in that moment, I guess she sees what
she's becoming.
But also she's like, oh, vengeance just leads to destruction. Like, look at Dany.
Yeah.
Dany has torn down this whole city, and it's because she's drawn by this singular vengeance, right? And then there's a white horse. Why? I don't know. Does that have any kind of
riding the white horse?
She's
ride the white.
Yeah, so like
metaphor. That's why her nose is bleeding. Dude, she looked like Salvador Dali for the last 15 minutes of the episode.
That was basically like the 9/11 of like Westeros, what just happened there. And like 10 years from now, she's gonna get King's Landing cancer. That's what she's gonna find out she has
King's Landing cancer.
So that horse doesn't belong to anyone.
Who does she sue, Danny?
Yeah, this is a lawsuit.
Not happening.
That horse isn't symbolic. Like that didn't belong to any horse.
I was raking my brain.
I didn't know if that was
when
like
did she have a
the
moment
Hound's
with the
horse, or like I didn't know if that horse like belonged to someone. And she's like, okay, I'll take over from here. I had no idea. That's what I'm asking.
No, I think it signified like white horse is pure, and she was riding back to her
purity.
Yeah.
All right, well,
okay.
that's dumb.
There was okay. Maybe it was dumb, but it was at least it was for me unpredictable for her character.
Sure.
And again, I'm sure you guys will have alternative viewpoints and want to trash so many of these things, but let me see if there's one other thing that was unpredictable that I really liked. I knew Varys was gonna die, but I loved the death. I thought it was visually really cool how they finally used darkness and dragons right. Right? Like, you would use darkness and dragons
out of the darkness and show the actual dragon instead of like, oh, what just killed him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was a powerful scene. And I liked how, like, I thought it was a cool acting choice of Dany to just go, Dracarys.
Yeah,
emotionless.
She was in full crazy mode.
Full crazy.
Like, they did that close up, and her hair was like kind of.
She was phenomenal.
She
was phenomenal.
She was really good, and but like that subtle Dracarys, like nothing. Like your life means nothing. It was over, and I thought that was really cool, and I liked Varys's reaction. Like you could tell in that moment, Varys was like, man, I've lasted this long.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
pretty
there was
cool.
also some foreshadowing, like the last season, Melisandre told him that he was going to die on that island.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck,
So
I
I didn't
forgot
see
about
that.
that.
Die there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't see
shit,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
okay.
see that at all.
Yeah, that's okay.
Did you notice this was the first time they showed Danny with no makeup?
Yeah, well, they did it. I thought the last scene of last episode, when Melisandre got killed,
Oh.
she was like walking back, and I distinctly recall her not having any
She
makeup.
looked different this time. She looked a little.
They
like,
made her look crazy.
Not like
She hadn't
like,
eaten.
like she was new to the crackhead game, like not full crackhead.
Dude, that was after
you know,
that 48-hour
like,
weekend.
Like like when you
Man,
see
she
one,
was
like
going
you
hard.
were good looking,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or not completely
Leonardo
disgusting.
DiCaprio, Basketball
Yeah.
Diaries.
Ray
You know,
Liotta got
for
for
heroin.
fellas.
Yep. Like,
Okay, this is
yep,
okay.
you're a
so
week away from just it being completely shot to hell.
So those were the unpredictable moments for me,
And that's
that
why
I
you liked
appreciate
it.
it, and that's why. And outside, that's just like storyline.
Yeah.
I thought this battle was way more pleasing.
First of all, light in daylight.
Thank you, thank you.
As soon as
Who would have thought?
it cut to daylight, my eyes were burning. I was like, I was like, there's daylight.
Everybody had to adjust their
Yo,
TV
I was
again.
like, turn it down, my retinas.
So it was like, it was a cool dynamic, right? Because you had two different battles happening at the same time, and one was greatly affected by the other, right? You had the hand-to-hand combat. You don't know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy anymore, because the good guys have gone bad and they're, seeking vengeance, right? And then while they're fighting, you got bricks dropping. It was like remember that show, the Aggro Crag?
Yeah,
What
guts.
was it? Guts.
Guts.
Yeah, remember? It's like,
Nickelodeon.
it's like
Yeah.
you got a maze to go through, and you got crack.
Yeah.
You know, it was like the King's Landing aggro crack, right? So
Wow, aggro crack.
it was a cool dynamic. Way
yeah.
more 9/11 than aggro crack. But,
Yeah,
you know,
it was 9/11 meets aggro crack. Though. I
right.
never said that.
So I thought it was I just thought it was a really sick way of showing a battle, and I love the episode, man. All right, you guys destroy it.
Why do you feel that that's against popular?
Well, because it's almost become
They were texting like you guys were really upset. I feel like their opinion about it. I'm gonna let you guys go because I think you're gonna hear why they hated it. Go.
I
Okay.
became a cynic of
Yeah.
the last
Been driving me
what has it
crazy
been,
on text
5
messages.
episodes. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
And I was always like the eternal optimist about the show, but I really felt like it was going in a direction that I did not agree with.
You thought it jumped the shark.
Jumped the shark,
Right.
Specifically during the Winterfell Battle for Winterfell Night King battle. But I had this moment right before I was watching my buddy Daniel, who I watched the first episode with when it aired live for season 1, and we both looked at each other. We were like, "Yo, we just gotta kind of just give in. Like,
Good.
We can't control it. It's never gonna be what we think it's gonna be. The theories or whatever. Let's just give in." And once I did that, I actually enjoyed the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
Fun.
Looking back on it now, like the fact that basically going into the last episode, everybody is where they were at the beginning of the show. We don't know where Sansa is, but like character arc wise,
Okay.
everybody reverted back to their original selves.
Give me an example.
So Jaime is with Cersei, right? Arya becomes human again. She's not going for revenge. She's
Yep.
going. John is, we think, being John, not actually.
John has
giving
always
into-
been noble, even
Yeah.
from the jump. Yeah.
Yes, and he's not like giving into whatever his love instincts are for Daenerys, which I thought he was gonna like actually turn and start fighting for her, and I was like, please don't do this. Please
Okay.
don't do this.
Okay.
Who else? Well, Dany is the Mad Queen, which is what everybody assumed from the beginning. Robert Baratheon was right when he was like, kill Dany. He was right.
The one thing that he was right about.
What else? I mean, everybody's kind of like reverted back to
Tyrion's, I guess, the only one who's in a weird spot.
yes.
Fucking loser.
I'm just saying.
So
No, Tyrion's the
Oh,
fucking
I
loser.
wanna-
Not you.
I-
Tyrion.
just talking to
Come at your neck.
brutal.
Come at your neck like that. No, Tyrion's
Poignant
a fucking
observations
loser.
about the show. I thought it was really good.
Fucking loser.
Trash
Tyrion's
the guy.
a fucking
Poor
loser.
guy. So, okay, I think great point. There's like a little restart right there.
Yeah.
The predictions by the past kings were right, and you know what? Maybe we should have listened to them. They ended up being king.
History repeats itself, right? This is the same exact thing that happened last time. It's just you're replacing who was it in the original rebellion against Daenerys' dad, the Mad
Right,
King.
Aegon was it or
Yeah,
Rhaegar?
Rhaegar Targaryen?
But who was leading the rebellion? Tywin came in with Robert, right?
Baratheon, yep.
And Ned.
Correct.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing. You're just replacing Tywin with who?
John?
With Jon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thoughts? Haney?
I was like 50-50 on the episode.
Okay.
There was a lot of stuff I really liked. It was the anti episode 3, the complete opposite.
Complete,
The
yep.
episode you hated, complete opposite of that. So I could see why you really, really like it just off that. So I like how it went about it. I like that it was daylight. This battle seems actually cool to watch.
Yeah.
All the camera tricks they're trying to do worked here.
They did some wonders
Right?
where they were like following people on the ground.
The
I was
character stuff, like the endings to some, like I thought the Clegane shit, I thought that shit was dope. It was hyped up. It lived up to expectations. The Cersei Jaime going out like that, I thought was just dumb and trash. And the most fitting thing would have been at that moment. I didn't think about it. It was at that moment if he just killed her for love. Like, we're gonna die. Like, rather than bricks fall on her head or get burnt by dragons, kills her, kills himself. It kind of fulfills that fan.
How Shakespearean of you, Haney.
Right? But like we've all been waiting for Jaime to kill her
Right.
out of anger, but he kills her just out of like, we're giving up. Like, we're gonna die together now.
I don't think that
Out of romance. And that would have been cool because it would have fulfilled like the whole your brother would have killed you. Your brother should kill you. Like that theory, but in a completely different angle on it. So
Yep.
that just them hugging and bricks falling on their head was really anticlimactic to me.
Do we know, and this is what Alex just said, do we know that the bricks fell on their head?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
How are they going to
If
survive?
they're
doing
if they're in
shit
next
off screen these
episode,
days,
I'm turning
yeah.
the TV off.
Say again?
If they're in the next episode, I'm turning the TV off.
That's fair.
Wow.
That's fair. Okay, anything else?
I fucking hated Jamie versus Bam Margera.
Yo, I
I
kind of
fucking
like.
hated it so much.
I kind
so
of like that
bad.
at the end. We
Just
last
like-
we see of him, he's laughing, saying, "I killed Jamie Lannister." I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it
No,
was
it
cool.
just shows
It
how
was
like
like a Joker
delusional. It
moment.
just shows
Yeah.
how
It was like the
delusional
last
he
time we
is.
see Heath Ledger.
Well,
in
not
Dark Knight.
delusionally. Like it shows how he led his life, right? Like it was true to the character. That would be a fine way for him to go out. He
But I
didn't
don't care
value
about
life.
that character.
I know, but like he didn't value life.
Take him out on the boat.
He should have went out on the fucking
Yeah,
boat.
when he jumped out,
That's
right,
a
of
death
course
he
he
deserved to have.
survived
The
it.
quick bang bang.
That's
Sure,
the thing.
sure. Okay, fine. That's fine. Go on.
I didn't like it. They certainly went in a direction that I don't think I would have gone in. But all week long, I was getting more and more agitated, like because like different things about the show would come out.
Okay.
Like something came out where like John and the dog didn't have a send off at the end because of like the CGI limitations, and like meanwhile this guy just was dog fighting on a dragon for 45 minutes, and he couldn't hug his fucking dog
Yo,
goodbye.
his dog had one ear.
Yo, it was-
It's like you couldn't give the good boy a pat.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's been getting like incredibly lazy. All the good stuff, a lot of the good stuff dating back from like season 6 was like happening off screen. Like even the Arya Sansa Littlefinger death, that whole thing took place off scene. John telling
No, we saw Littlefinger die.
we saw him die, but their plan
Yeah, their planning,
was
yeah.
just like a flip,
Right.
Right.
Like there was no real crafty way that they handled that.
Right.
Then there was also John telling his sisters, they did that off screen. The big reveal, he tells his sisters who he really is. You don't really see what happens.
Right.
So I was annoyed leading up to it, and then I enjoyed the first scene with Varys, and he took the rings off. He knew what was about to happen.
Great.
I liked that how everything leaked, how Daenerys looked, and kind of where her mental state was at. And
This guy can't say a fucking name right.
what I
You just don't even try.
Yeah,
You
whatever.
don't even try. You've been watching this show 10 years. You add 3 vowels to every single name.
Right, I don't-
And it
right.
got enough vowels. Every name has 7 vowels already, and you're adding
It's
an
throwing
extra
me
one.
off. I know. I'm
It's too many.
overcompensating for the vowels. So anyway,
It's Daenerys.
Daenerys. It's
When we
Daenerys.
say it to you, what does it sound like?
What did I say? Daenerys?
Yeah.
Daenerys, yeah, you're adding
You know
a
what you
whole-
said because you've been saying it for 8 years. Don't act surprised.
In my head, I hear Daenerys.
What?
every time.
Yeah, it's Daenerys.
I know
But
that.
when I say it, are you like, this guy doesn't watch the show?
You say Danny. You shorten it to
I go
Danny.
Danny.
You
Yeah,
go
yeah, yeah.
Right?
That's your deal.
Yeah.
Probably. Going
sure?
forward, I think that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we're
yeah.
that's what we're
Okay,
gonna do.
go.
So the thing that really irked me, I guess, was from the beginning, which I couldn't take,
Yeah.
was the fact that, first of all, they should have had a Drogon training montage before we got to the fight. Because that Drogon this week was
Yeah.
not the Drogon last week.
Yeah, does he ever run out of fire? Like, does he need a refuel? What?
I thought about that too.
He
Yeah.
took one. He watched his brother take one arrow and was completely off his game and beat feet out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he comes back this week and it was nonstop Drogon.
Yeah. We needed that action with the White Walkers for sure.
We needed that with the White Walkers. We
Yeah.
could have used it last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so this thing is just going to decimate this whole army scene, and I guess all it takes is really one dragon. So
How did the Targaryens ever lose?
they
That's
don't.
that's
which is
what I
fine.
kept thinking. No, well, they must have because they're not in power.
Well, no, the dragons died.
Mad
They
King.
stopped the dragons.
So,
they
look,
stopped making
Hold on one
dragons.
second.
Last episode, she's flying straight towards him. Dragon dies. This episode, the dragons are flying diagonal.
No. I'm saying
that's
like
it.
thousands of years ago when they never had a scorpion. They never had the thing that shot them.
No, what happened was the
Oh.
dragons ended up dying off. They stopped reproducing.
They stopped reproducing.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
why.
they're asexual beings,
okay.
so it's
In
kind of
order
hard
to
to
get
figure
to
out.
the place
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
were conquerors, they took
Yeah,
over.
yeah, they did it pretty easily,
basically what they
probably.
just did.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when they actually took over, they had like a very small army. That was like the thing. It was
Yeah.
mainly dragons.
Yes.
But they had three. They had
But
three.
they had
dragons,
three. Yeah.
Right,
But
right.
apparently, you didn't really need three.
You just needed
That was
one.
the
You just
takeaway.
needed
Yeah.
one going off.
Yeah.
Then there was this whole other half an army of Dothraki. I don't know where they came
Well,
from.
that was the other thing. I was like, all right, I thought they all died. I thought there was
There's
like
a
one
shit
guy
ton
left.
of them out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And now they got balls. Like last
Yeah.
time they
Oh,
were
got-
running
this
back.
is what they do. They go sack cities.
Yeah,
they
but-
rape, they pillage. This is what the
They're back
Dothraki
in their
way.
element. Yeah. But before we saw them running back from the White Walkers that just destroyed all of them.
There was like four of them.
Exactly. So now those four have somehow multiplied into a whole small army.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. So there's some issues, right? There's some
So
numbers
some
issues.
some
yeah,
manpower issues there, right?
A little bit of manpower issues. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be funny if there was because I think what's it goes? Danny goes to John like where's the Dothraki army? That'd be cool if he was like, oh, like those three guys
Yeah.
that made it out. Yeah, they're
I let
here.
them go home. Yeah, I let them go home.
All four of them made
Send
it
him
back.
back.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Dothraki. No, we sent him back. We sent him back home to their mom.
Saving Private Drogo.
So yeah, I didn't love that. And then the other part was when they went to go sack the city. I get the Dothraki went nuts, and I liked how they did the little standoff with
Yeah.
Grey Worm. But then, like, most of those other guys with him were I was under the impression were Northern troops with John, and then
Right.
the way that they kind of just broke rank from him, like, I didn't really see that coming when he was trying to stop them, and they just kept like
Yes.
moving forward.
Did he? But
Well,
he
I
didn't
think
try
they were
to
just
stop
so
him.
lost in the
He
battle
did
that they
try to
didn't.
stop him.
Did he?
Yeah.
He said
One
fall
of his
back,
guys tried
stop.
to fucking stab him.
Can we acknowledge that? That was the most hilarious part of the whole episode. There's a dragon lighting the city on fire. There's a full war going on, and the dude still stopped like, I get some pussy.
Yeah.
He was gonna rape mid-war.
Oh yeah.
That
War.
is insane,
Mid-destruction.
dude.
I know.
Crazy. The whole city's turning into rubble.
True.
And the guy sees one
Well,
chick that
at
hasn't
that-
should in a month.
Yo, but it's
She's
like
been stocked up in
when
the
you
city.
come out of winter, like guys in New York that come out of winter, they see a sundress and they're just like, they go down to King's
Yeah.
Landing, the sun's out, and everybody's like,
That's how ugly the chicks are up in Winterfell. They got
That's
their
true.
first southern
That's
pussy
true.
and they're like, oh shit.
That's a good point.
Anyway, go on.
And so then the other thing is I just thought Danny flipped the switch kind of quick.
Okay.
no, that's been building.
no,
Genocide
no, no.
is a pretty big leap, I would say, from killing a couple guys that you don't like here and there.
That was building since the end of the last episode. So that is quick in the scheme of Game of Thrones, but like we knew that.
But what was her driving motivation to just be like, I'm just going to lay waste
So let's
to
back up.
fucking
Okay,
city?
so
over
let's
King's Landing
back
and
up.
I got it.
finally
All right, so
seeing
I'll end my
Let's
rant
back
there.
it for grabs.
So let's go with Danny. Let's start with Danny.
Let's start with
that's
Danny.
That's a good person. Okay. So to be fair, she didn't switch this episode. She's been locked
Yeah,
up,
you've seen
not
it.
talking to anybody in the throne room of
Dragonstone.
Dragonstone. Clearly, she's pissed
her
off.
friend died.
Sure. But she's pissed, right? And she was pissed at the end of last episode. So however many weeks are before it happened to now, she's been not talking to anybody, stewing furious.
If I watched someone chop Haney's head off, I probably would skip a few meals myself.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think that means I'm going to start a total obliteration of a population.
Not
Right,
a real
but-
friend.
Right. But you don't have Targaryen blood,
That's
right?
true.
You have Rossi blood.
That's right.
Right, so you might like kick
me,
over
it's-
some
yes,
garbage cans
yeah.
or something like that. Oh, they take my guy. Just hit it on your hand a few times. We're gonna handle this for you, Amy.
Throw it at some car as he drives by. You better come back here.
Fuck yourselves. But that is how she's gonna end up handling it, and we also know that that's the prophecy, right? They keep on shoving this down our throats, which is like
Mad
every
Targaryen.
Well, not every Targaryen is a flip of a coin, right?
Yeah.
And it almost seems to me that like a situation can flip it because Dany, I think, was a good person, and then a situation turned.
It's in her DNA, right?
Right.
And then like we've seen questionable moments, like when she killed Sam's dad and brother, and we're like, oh shit, she has this in her.
She got in
right?
her, yeah.
And that was what, a season and a half ago.
Well,
two
fuck
seasons
them.
ago?
They had a chance to not die, and they chose to
Right,
die.
but we saw that she's willing to go the distance. I think what happened was she's on that dragon. She gets to King's Landing. She sees the Red Keep, and she's like, "This is mine. I'm taking it." She's been waiting for so long.
But she couldn't just drive to the Red Keep and take out the Red Keep. Like she had to do the zigzag all the way through the city.
Yep.
She started mowing the fields.
Yeah.
Should they set that up earlier though? Right? They set that up earlier when I think you're going to touch on it.
Say it.
So when she's like, all the people in that city are insubordinate,
Right.
Because when I freed the people of Marine, or the slaves of Marine,
What did they do? They went back.
revolt, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, the people in this city, when I free them, they're not revolting. They're not doing. They're actually just chilling and protecting the queen. And Tyrion tries to go, look, they're desperate. They have no choice. They'll be killed by the queen if they don't revolt. This, that, there. But
Right.
that was her justification. And I think in her mad state, she's like, it's us
Or them.
and it looks like it's going to be us. Right? Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, that. And when John went to go see her in the room, and she's like, talking about leading with fear or love.
She picked fear.
She picked fear,
Good-
right?
good
First of
pickup.
all, if he'd have just piped her, it might have been a whole different thing. He could have saved thousands of people. But he pulled.
You could say about any woman
he
who's
pulled
not
away.
getting dick,
She
right?
was like, you know what? Then
You could say that about any of them.
If John would have just laid pipe, shit would have been way different.
That was her version of, what are you, gay?
Yep.
So, literally killed 1 million people because 5'8" John that she's been size shaming for the last 4 episodes wouuld fuck her.
Yep.
Yo, she
that
should have
crazy?
started laying in on his height in
Yeah.
that moment. That'd be really funny, right? Like, why don't you go with your midget friend Tyrion and make out?
She should have been like, take off the shoes. I know you're wearing platform shoes.
Is that sword a little heavy for you, John? Just walk down the hallway with him, roasting him, just follow him back to the soldiers.
The other thing
Speaking your real voice. John's always like really low voice. He goes, "Hey, my name's John." He just starts trashing him.
The other thing I love that it went against everything that they've done previously on the show. The last time we had like a high profile cameo, it was like, oh, Ed Sheeran's gonna be on the show. It's like, I wonder where he's gonna be. And then if you remember that episode, he literally turns to camera and starts singing.
Yeah.
That never bothered me, that scene.
I hated it.
So much.
Well, I need
So
to catch
anyway,
Aaron Rodgers
so
tonight.
so Aaron was in the episode tonight, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And I was like, please don't let him be like if that was the version of the Ed Sheeran cameo,
Right.
It would have been like Arya drops something and he's like, hey
throws
Arya,
it, yeah.
and he just throws like a
sick.
crazy
I would've
bomb,
loved
like just a Hail Mary.
That would have been amazing.
I was like, please don't let it be something like that. And we didn't see him. Like I'm sure if we like,
Nah,
pause
you'll
it-
see him. They'll go online. You'll see him. Like that dude from Always Sunny Philadelphia.
Yeah,
was
yeah,
in
yeah.
a
But
few
I like
episodes
that. I
ago.
like. not
Okay,
knowing
what
who
was he in this episode?
we don't know.
He was
don't know
probably
either.
like someone that died.
Yeah, he's probably just a
in-
random guy
in
walking.
battle, you know. But I like that. I like that he didn't like throw something or.
That would have been, that'd been awful. I personally think it should be in every one of the actors' contracts that they're not allowed to do any appearances or release any footage of them in costume, but not as part of the show. Like, I hate these videos that come out of them like dancing on set or hanging out on set. I want to believe that that's real.
Oh, I hate that. It
And-
fucks me up.
Yeah,
Did
you
you
break
see
the
the
third wall.
documentary that they're putting HBO's putting out in like 2 weeks?
I'm fine with that because it's
Okay.
after, right?
Okay.
But I don't like anything happening during. Like, there was a video that came out with Grey Worm and Masande.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're like doing that little Beyonce dance. And
I
it was like,
not interested.
like
I don't want to see Great Worm doing that.
I don't want to. Yeah, it's this. You're a Grey Worm still,
Right.
You're not DJ guy from England or wherever you're from. You're a Grey Worm.
Cold-blooded killer.
That's it.
That's
you got
it.
no balls.
None.
It's just like, don't break the mystique. You know, let
you
me
know-
get lost in this.
So I love that because I was watching it with my girl just now, and she asked me like which scenes were green screen and CGI, and it was like all of it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have to ask that is
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
dope.
No, they
like,
killed
they
it.
Did it well.
They killed it. And
did
I was
well.
watching. I was really nerding out this week on George R. R. Martin, and I was watching like interviews with him. And first of all, he's like a really interesting guy. And he's like funny. He's like self-deprecating. He's like insecure. He's like a real artist about it.
So
man.
where's the last 2 books?
Say what?
Where's the last 2 books?
Check it. This is what made me respect him more than anything in the world. He's such a fucking artist. He'd rather die than put out subpar work.
Well, he's gonna die.
And he's real talk. No, because he said he tried to do it. He was like, when the show started,
material.
he goes, when the show started, I was trying to race the show and I couldn't. And there's a thing with like him and Stephen King. There's like a talk. Stephen King, the writer, yeah. And Stephen King asked him at the end, "Is there any question you'd like to ask me?" He goes, "How the fuck do you write so much?"
Stephen King's putting out like 5 a year,
Dude.
and they're getting turned into a movie like the next year.
Yeah, and he goes on this rant. He's like, I mean, do you ever just like sit there like every word that comes out is a piece of shit and you're not interesting or smart and everything you do is bad? And like, I just related to it as an artist. Like, you know, I'm like, oh shit, it is cool to see the guy who's created maybe the most popular show in human history.
Yeah, he's self-conscious too.
To be self-conscious with his own work. And it's cool to see that like, when he was offered millions and millions of dollars, all this type of shit, and they were like, yo, please finish the book so we do it. He was like, no, I'd rather die before I put out a subpar version of this story that he wanted to get right. And I was like, all right, man, hats off, dude. You fucking
hats off,
man.
but also like, finish the book.
But for us, it's selfish, right? But like as a creative, you're like, all right,
for
bro.
sure. No. As a creative, hats off from the beginning. Like, amazing. He created a whole fucking world and languages and shit like that. Like,
And yo, he had some dope answers. Like people would try to go social justice on him, and they were like, you know, why is it that all the slaves are black in the show or something like that? And he goes, well, you know, if the show is different in the books, you have to understand that. Like the books, slavery was based on like the Roman and Greek times, where like everybody was a slave. It didn't matter your color; you could just anybody be a slave. But a lot of the show is filmed in Morocco. And, when you put out a casting call in Morocco, the problem is Moroccans come.
Yeah.
I thought that shit was so funny. And he goes, but if you watch the first season, the budgets were smaller, and the Dothraki in the first season, they filmed everything in Ireland. So if you look at like the background Dothraki, not the main ones, the background Dothraki,
They're like white guys?
They look like
Like
Jack.
redheads?
Every single one looks like Jack. So he's like, and as we start to change where the locations and stuff, they change. But he was like, yeah, it's not a thing that we're really, we're not trying to position certain people.
Right.
There's production restraints on a TV show that don't exist in a book where you're just
it
making.
doesn't exist in his mind when he's
Right.
writing.
Right.
And that's funny because the Dothraki in my mind are colored.
They are.
Yeah.
But in the book, I think they are supposed to be kind of like Arabic.
Yeah, they seem like Arabic.
Something looking people, but the Unsullied also were like they could have been anything,
Right.
And he just handled a couple of these questions. Like he had a really funny thing where he was like, I guess I don't. Any surprises? He goes, I guess I don't understand women.
Still doesn't understand them any better than when he started.
But he goes like, literally, I don't get it. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, I mean, when I wrote the characters for like Theon and like another one, it was like they were supposed to be hated. And I'm seeing these message boards, and there are women lusting over these characters. Like, these are pieces of shit. So it was just cool to see him. Anyway,
So he called out women.
Yeah,
That's him calling out women. To be honest with you,
he called them out.
That's him calling out playing himself, but he's basically saying, yeah, you guys are full of shit.
Yeah.
By the way, like just a tip, maybe lose the conductor hat if you're trying to like.
I know he's so
get
Burning
women.
Man.
Yeah. He's wearing like every appearance he makes, he has the same like conductor hat on
That's
with
his
like
look. Let
suspenders.
him do his thing.
I'm just saying, like
Alright.
if you're trying to understand women, use the conductor hat. Like just start there.
Okay, so the question is, why didn't Danny just go and kill Cersei immediately?
Yeah.
And what are your guys' thoughts on it? That was one of the questions I've written down for Cersei. Marco, what do you think?
Now that the way you, I don't think it became a priority for her anymore because she knew she won.
So
Driven by the rage and the
Cersei was
hunger.
never somebody
But
who.
she's like, I'm destroying everything.
Right, you're part of everything.
She has nothing left. So this whole city's gonna crumble around her. She's gonna die. She's gonna not die. I don't know. Like I've waylasted to this land and I've won. This is now all mine.
Right.
There's nothing she can do about it.
Cersei is a part of this, and this is done.
Correct.
I won. She's no longer important.
She was just who was on the throne. It was nothing personal to her. It was
Ever.
her throne, and that's it. Could have been the king. Could have been good.
She's the only person that didn't have a personal conflict with
Cersei.
With Cersei,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Once the bells rang,
Yeah.
that's where she snapped.
Yeah.
So after that, there was no logic after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was when she made the decision, right?
Yeah.
She's been the most removed. Everybody has shit with Cersei. You're right. She's been the most removed, other than the last move at the end of the last episode where Missandei gets killed. But like, it's always been about the throne. It's never been about the person who's sitting on the throne. That's essentially what you just said.
Mark, Hani, you were going to say something right there.
Are we to assume that, when like her and Cersei are like having that stare down, but like they're miles away from each
I
other?
didn't think that they were really.
Are we to assume that she knew Cersei was in that tower over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're to assume that, then she's just like, I'm going to torture her and burn down every inch of the city.
Yeah, but Cersei doesn't care
Cersei
about any
doesn't
of
care
that.
about them people.
I know, but still, like not only am I going to beat you, I'm going to rub it in.
Weird flex.
So-
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Also, I forgot the next one. Go ahead. Also, were you guys surprised that, like, you knew she was going to go Mad Queen?
Right.
You thought she might kill a few people and then get stopped, maybe? Like, what was your expectation going in? You knew she was going to go Mad Queen. Do you think she was going to go that Mad Queen?
I
Because
thought-
that Mad Queen was kind of surprising to me.
I figured like going Mad Queen is going all out.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
don't
don't go
think
half
there's-
Mad
Like,
Queen.
so you expected her to burn down the whole fucking city tonight?
I mean, if you asked me last week, I would have been like, she's going to kill a bunch of random innocent people.
A bunch of randos, not
Yeah.
the whole fuking, not the whole
No,
King's
that was a
Landing.
lot. That was as it was happening. Like the last few fire deaths where they really like showed you who everybody that was out. I was like, oh shit! All right, she's turned. She's not.
She's
like-
completely turned.
Yeah, she's not going halfway.
yeah. And I wonder if there was some logic with it. I wonder if, and there's a moment where she says it. She's like,
Breaking
they
the
don't
wheel.
love me. They fear me. And then she goes, let it be fear. And maybe she was hoping, she was like, look, if John loves me, these people will love me. If John doesn't love me, I've got no shot. So I have to live by fear, and so there's nothing for her to lose, really. I mean, you might as well just go all in at that point.
But also like season 4 or season 5, right after Tyrion joins up with her and they're having that conversation about how to like plan their whole thing.
Yeah,
She says, "I'm not trying to stop the wheel. I'm trying to break it."
right.
She's
She
breaking the
broke
wheel.
the fuck out of
She
it.
broke the fuck out of the wheel. I mean,
yeah, there's no more
it's
wheel left.
completely broke. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. On a separate note, there's if we can move on to Tyrion, I think that something we tried to predict last week kind of did come to fruition in a cheaper, less expensive way. So the theory last week was they're going to go to the Golden Company and they get the Golden Company to flip. And a version of that, and it was Tyrion's doing, and a version of that was essentially Tyrion telling Jaime, hey, go get Cersei to just get on the boat and leave and ring the bells, and this way we don't got to go to war. And I'm glad that didn't happen, but the idea, like, I had no clue.
Then he tried to broker some sort of peace.
Right. That Tyrion was going to get busy, like, intellectually. He was going to, like, I'll risk my life because if you end up stopping us from going to war, then it's worth it, and then the queen will
Don't know
save
how.
me.
Don't know how Jamie slipped past the circle of Unsullied that had his tent guarded.
Tyrion sent them away.
No, they left.
They left, remember?
Tyrion sent them away.
Tyrion was
Tyrion
like,
sent him away.
You see them
I thought you
all
just said,
turn and walk away.
Oh, I thought you just said.
No, he's like, yo, dip. And then I guess Davos, who just has a fleet of little boats. This
Yeah,
guy's
he's just a massive
always got a
smuggler.
boat.
Yeah.
But there's never a time where he doesn't have a little boat. Gendry's on a little boat. Like where's this marina?
Oh, is
Where
that
was
the
Gendry?
favor?
Full of his
Oh, is
boats.
that the favor that he asked of Davos when he was like, "I need
Yeah.
a favor from you"?
Yeah,
I
that
didn't-
he
I didn't
smuggled
make
them
that
over there.
connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
So that was one thing where it was like, okay, Tyrion's going to get busy. I really thought we were going to see Tyrion like really use his brain and kind of be victorious. And no, and unfortunately not. Maybe something will be cooked up in this last episode, but it was kind of whack, to be honest with you. Like Tyrion's still just flopping all around, kind of useless.
Guy stinks.
He really stinks. I guess
Sucks now.
it sucks, and it's like I think George R. R. Martin's pissed because
That was his favorite character.
Well, he
right?
views
He's
himself
Tyrion.
as
He's
Tyrion.
yeah.
Yeah, he does, and it was like man, they're killing him. He's got to be furious.
Yeah, it's not great.
He's got to be furious. I mean, you can't have Tyrion go out like this. He's got to be, a savior in some way.
You don't see him in the second half of the episode. Once she goes Mad Queen,
yeah,
you don't really see him again.
Listen, it's not over. We don't know. He could end up on the throne.
I think that he will end up on the throne.
Jon goes to the north and leaves Tyrion to rule.
Did we have this conversation last week? I forget because I've had so many of these combos. But the idea that like there was the combo between Varys and Tyrion, right? And the combo was maybe the person that's right for the throne is the one who doesn't want to be on it, right?
Right.
And Tyrion is taking that as Jon is the rightful king. But maybe Varys was like, it's actually you, dummy. You don't want it.
Yeah.
But you would be the person who's right for
Varys
it.
has always been his number one fan.
Yeah, but Tyrion does kind of want it.
Nah.
I don't
I
know if
wouldn't
he
say
does.
he doesn't want it.
I don't know if he
He's
does.
been the hand twice. He's certainly flying close to the sun.
Yeah, but he realizes that there's security close to the sun. Like, he's a dwarf at the end of the day. He can't just be like walking around King's Landing being a blacksmith, right? The only way he survives is if he's close to power. And the reason why he can be close to power is because he's an asset to power. But he'll never be the one who yields. I mean, think about how people disrespect him, and he's the hand.
Well, season 2, probably one of the best seasons of the whole show. His whole arc that season is he becomes the hand, and he's really good at it.
Right.
He just basically like manipulates the shit out of everyone and wins the battle at the end of the season. So like, we know he can do it. And Varys after that point was like the one who was like, you actually are good at this. I'm gonna vouch for you going forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that lines up with
Look,
Yeah, but
It could
I'm
be
kind of with
interesting.
Marco, and I think that if they asked him to be the king, he wouldn't.
Yeah, he would
hesitate,
wanna
and
be
he'd
it. He's
like,
not gonna do it.
Like if they go to John, we want to be king. Oh, I don't want to do it. He's gonna do his whole fucking thing. But if they go to Tyrion rip off that hand thing and be like,
Yeah,
give me the crown right
crown
now.
is-
I think he'd
give me the
still
crown
be-
right now.
I think he'd be reluctant.
You don't think
'cause
so?
I don't
then
think so.
He'd just become.
I think he'd take it
what he
super
hate-
fast.
I don't think so. I think it would be hesitant, but they'd have to convince him a little bit. Look, I'm not certain. I will say this: as if we're talking about Varys, there is something. Varys had the moment with the little girl, right, where he's like, the biggest rewards come from the biggest risks,
Right.
And he was writing on a
Yeah,
parchment.
we don't know who he sent.
Now, so he was writing 2, and
Yeah, multiple. Yeah.
multiple, and one
See seeing people.
they were this is CCing back in the day. So
Blind
one
CC.
was definitely about mother dragons, right? Because if you read the lines, it was describing that little spiel that she gives before she kills you, and
One mentioned Ned Stark on it, and so then I'm
Well, no,
assuming
one
went to
was
Jon.
saying John's lineage. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. So where is that going?
I have no idea.
Oh, maybe Bran's doing something. I don't know what the fuck happened to Bran.
Well,
I thought that was going to Cersei.
Nah.
Yeah. Who else would he need to notify?
But
Well,
that's
The
it's-
rest
it's-
of
That's
the
dead money though. He
the
knew
rest
that.
of
It's
the-
useless. It's useless. Cersei's useless because she's
Yeah,
out of the
there's no
game.
win in her own.
So
the rest of the kingdoms that
Yo,
that
Cersei's not
Daenerys is
dead.
about to
she's
rule
dead.
over.
She's dead. She's dead.
No,
So where is that going? That's what we
all
have
right,
to
where
talk
could it
about.
go? It could go to Rob and Aaron, who's like
The
still
Vale.
to the Vale, who's
Yeah.
still alive.
Prince was promised.
Prince was promised for sure. For sure.
It could go like somewhere random in Essos, right, and like get some Eastern.
Dorne.
Iron Bank.
Well, we know that Dorne is still flowing.
Dorne's still
You could go to
involved.
Dorne, exactly.
It's going to all those places.
Yeah,
That's not King's Landing.
yeah.
Okay, so there's multiple, but there's specifically something risky that this girl had to do. And is that girl in King's Landing at the end? Remember, there was a girl that was trembling by a wall.
Well, yeah, that was the girl that she was like the kid surrogate that we were following through the whole battle with, and then at the very end she gets.
But
hurt.
was
she the
that the
spy?
same girl
Different girl.
that was
Different girl.
That was a different
we
girl.
get introduced to that girl at the beginning of the King's Landing battle.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought they were the same girl. Okay, all right. So we don't know where that little parchment is going, but it's potentially going somewhere.
Look at you with your notes, man.
Yeah, because I want to break down per character and like all the questions that I
Yeah,
had.
that's great.
Okay, here's my issue. Let's talk about Cersei if we can. So I was disappointed in Cersei because throughout these last like 7.5 seasons, she's thought everything through. Literally everything through to a T. And I believe so much in Cersei that as King's Landing is being torn to shreds and the dragon is flying right at Cersei, at any moment I'm like, oh, right into her trap. I'm assuming
that she's
I
luring
thought
her
that
in.
maybe there was
one
a
more scorpion
right there.
and it's right there, and it shoots it right into
I
her
thought that.
chest, and
I
then
thought that.
right through the neck,
Right through
right through
Daenerys'
Daenerys's
face.
as well, right? And it was like, oh shit, she sacrificed everybody in the realm so she could maintain to get the dragon close enough to her so she could piece her out.
I thought
and then I
Qyburn-
was like, sorry, what?
I thought Qyburn was going to step in with like the last minute move to take it out.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But basically, you looked at a situation where Cersei never had ego. Her value throughout this whole show was she was egoless, right? Shame. She was like, fuck it. I'll go walk through the am I free after?
Yeah.
Because I'm a body everyone. Right? So you can look at my pussy. Like, who hasn't seen my pussy? I fuck my brother. Like, I have no shame, right? So she never had an issue. She fucked Bam Margera, right? Because she knew that fucking Bam Margera was going to get loyalty of that fleet, and it was going to push her closer to her goal.
She would do whatever it takes to
Whatever
win.
it takes, zero ego. And this moment, she's sitting there like, well, no one ever gets in the Red Keep. Well, this is to save it. It's like, you have ego.
There was no backup plan.
no, but nothing.
Yeah.
couldn't
What
believe
happened?
it.
Like,
I couldn't believe it.
It was so absurd.
She
To
was
me,
just in denial.
Also, we've been so removed from her. Like, she's probably had a total of 10 lines before this episode this season.
Right.
Like, we haven't seen any of her planning. So, yeah, it was like, if we're going with the off-screen thing, we assumed off-screen that she had some kind of master plan.
There was obviously preparation being made. Obviously, she was disappointed with the lack of elephants, so she probably had a plan for them in
She was
place
really
that she
banking
couldn't
on the fucking
execute, right?
elephants.
Right.
So you had the elephants, then you had all those ships built, all the new Scorpions that were clearly upgraded from the previous model,
Right.
Right. So she was putting people to work. You saw little bits of the wildfire out there going off,
Yeah.
right? So you knew there
Planted.
was some wildfire
I didn't get that.
in the tuck.
Yeah, that was leftover wildfire.
leftover wildfire.
Yeah.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
didn't
She
get it.
probably didn't even know that was there.
No, she didn't. No.
Okay,
I
she
think it
did.
was supposed to be like that was what was left from when she
Right.
blew up the Citadel.
So, but to your point, she needed the like break glass in case of an emergency plan that she's always had.
Always had.
And she did not
Yeah.
have it here at all,
She went-
other than the fact that she thought the Golden Company and her own army was going to like defend it.
I'll say something. The way that they took out the Golden Company.
Soft.
Wait a minute.
No, I liked it.
Wait a minute. It was sick. Even though we built up the Golden Company to be something, so you'd like to see it actually do something. If you're not going to see them do something, it was the coolest way to get them out of there.
100%.
That's all.
Totally agree.
Right? It was like, okay, we don't have time for a battle. The Golden Company build them up with this, that, the other. How do we get them out? The fact that they're looking around and you hear the boom,
the wind.
just
Yeah, yeah.
fucking
Oh, it was amazing.
bro. I'll give
that
credit
was amazing.
to that. Okay, so back to Cersei. What were you saying, Haney?
She went all in on the ballistas. Is that what they're called?
Scorpions.
Yeah.
No, She went all
Ballistas,
in on
yeah.
She went all in on them.
As she should.
That was her plan.
Okay.
I'm saying like that was it. Like that was her in case of emergency.
Let-
Like she was like, "There's no way she's getting past that."
Let's
even
say-
when they're all done, she's like, "Well, just fire some more at them." He was
Right.
like, "Yo, they're gone."
So
But
let's
even
say,
during
for example,
Blackwater
right?
Bay-
Let's say, for example, she has them all surrounding the thing.
Right.
She knows that that dragon and Dany is coming for her wherever she is.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you put a secret one right below where you are?
Nah.
Maybe
She
3 of
just
them.
saw it work though.
Huh?
Like
But that's what you do. You put a secret one right there and you let them walk into the trap like she's always done.
You know what I thought for a second? Bronn. That was when Bronn was going to step up and take out Dany or the dragon. I thought Bronn was just gonna pop up.
That
That
would have
would've
been
been good.
sick.
But you know what I found out, and this is my boy Daniel pointed it out, and I looked it up. It's true. Bronn, the actor who plays Bronn, and the chick who plays Cersei, Lena Headey,
Yep.
they have contractually in their contracts they can never share a scene together because they dated before the show.
Really?
And they broke up, and they had a terrible breakup, and then I guess they started dating a little bit like right at the beginning of the show, and they hate each other so much that they can't share a scene together. That's why in the beginning of the season,
Qyburn's got to do it, not
they're in King's Landing, and like we just see Qyburn talking for Cersei. They've never once shared a scene together. That's why when they go to the summit meeting, he's like, "All right," to Pod, he's like, "We're gonna go get a drink while the adults talk."
Wow.
my ex is over there. I'm gonna go to the other room.
Yeah.
What
But I feel like it
fucking
affected Bronn's arc
snobs.
because Bronn should have been in this battle. Like, where was Bronn the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have been used.
He could have been you. Yeah, he could
Did
have.
you guys notice who else was missing?
Well, a lot of people were missing from the.
I didn't see Sansa.
Well, yeah, she's
Yeah, she's up
She's
in
in
Winterfell.
Winterfell.
she's gonna come in
Yeah,
now.
but like,
yeah. No, she's not supposed to be there.
really?
She's the lady
John
of Winterfell.
left, yeah.
You leave someone in charge up there. You need to stay there.
But what about I thought Bran maybe was gonna like warg again. I'm waiting for Bran to actually
Just do something.
Yeah, to do something.
But like to that point, like even during like the Battle of Blackwater, Cersei had the nightshade drink. She was like, if
she
they
always
break
had
through
a-
the walls, me and the kid, we're gonna drink this nightshade and we're gonna call it a day.
She had a failsafe every time.
She had a
fail-safe
failsafe
every single
no
time,
matter what.
This was just, I couldn't believe it.
Ego.
Yeah,
Where's this ego?
where'd it come from?
Out of nowhere. And she had the perfect fucking alley, man. I'm waiting for that one scene. She's flying right towards the Red Keep, and I'm like, okay. Danny got too cocky. Danny's about to get got, and then nothing happened. I was like, what?
Yeah,
This is crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a little odd.
was a
Cersei thing's a
strange.
letdown, man.
It was a little letdown.
Thinking about it now, like having a little bit of space from it, it's a fucking letdown.
It was just the Cersei Danny thing was a letdown. I'm okay with Cersei and Jamie dying in the.
Me too. I'm so
the
okay
rubble.
with Jamie not killing her. I did
Yeah.
not want to see that happen.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was totally cool with
It's
that.
like they understood that a lot of people like Cersei, and they didn't want to give her a tragic death.
She think they went
But
back.
that's
to,
bullshit because that's what they've been doing to us.
We
the
love
whole
tragic
fucking
deaths.
time.
I don't think that.
Yeah, they're not
It was
caring.
bullshit. They gave her like a cop out death.
so you think it's like
I don't
fan
know,
service
what do you
in saving her from like a real death?
Yeah. Or maybe they were just like, well, everyone thinks that Arya's gonna kill her or James gonna kill her. So
Right.
fuck it, we're bricks.
Can I ask you
You're not gonna
guys
see that
why,
one coming. Like fuck that.
why are you so sold that she's dead?
A ton of bricks.
Yeah, but then it's
Yo, you're drunk, son?
No.
You're
but-
drunk right now, right?
So the bricks. Wait,
You gotta
wait.
be drunk.
Wait.
I've never heard Alex talk this much.
Nah, I'm sorry.
How are you positive that when the building fell on that person, they died?
The bricks were starting to come down, and then it goes like gray.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's not a certain death.
Yeah,
In
it is.
Game of Thrones, that's not a certain death.
Yo, the old Game of Thrones, maybe.
If all right, look,
Now,
we didn't,
now
we
when
didn't
there's one episode left.
We didn't
and this
see
is
it.
what like you expect it to happen.
anything had happened. I guess we didn't see them dead, but I'll take a bet to say that that's the last we're gonna see. What will be the point of bringing them back?
All right. We didn't really go into detail about
Clegane.
the Clegane Bowl.
Let's talk about it. Clegane Bowl, 2019.
I thought it was so cool, man. I
Yeah,
thought
I
it
thought it
was
was good.
so fucking cool.
This felt to me like I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah.
And like, at the end of Lord of the Rings when Sam and Frodo get to the end and they're, fighting with Gollum and they
Yeah.
just get so close and then this felt like that like epic battle that on the side in the background the flames are going like all that shit.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was a great set piece and it was the perfect setting for them to finally face off.
100%. And there was something romantic about them both dying in the fire,
Yep.
Yep.
right?
Yep.
This is, early in his life, he's been scarred because his brother burned his face, and now he gets to kill his brother by burning him.
Yeah.
He also kills himself because he's driven by this, vengeance. And, dude, even bringing back the eye poking out scene from
That-
Oberyn.
Oh, that was
Well, what about
amazing.
Qyburn's out, dude? It was
Oh,
quick. It was like
Qyburn's out.
classic Game of Thrones. He's like, you cannot disobey.
yeah.
I like that was a quick death. They don't do that
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, no, it was sick, man.
But yeah, that was amazing. I like that. It was funny. He had a bunch of funny lines in there. Just like when he was like, "Why won't you?" He's stabbing him. He's like,
Yeah.
"Why won't you die?"
Yeah.
He's stabbing him in the shoulder.
Yeah.
That was where I thought Arya was going to come back.
So
Yeah.
So I actually liked that Arya didn't, right?
Yeah.
Because it fulfilled what she said. He asks her, "So you're gonna let me die again?" And then she goes, "Probably." And that's exactly what the fuck she did.
That's true.
She could have stayed with them. She could have went back and got him and helped him or found some way, but
But
she
she wouldn't have
didn't.
been able to help. Like the guy was immune. Like how you?
But
how
the
you killing
send off was the send off, right? Like you got. That's why I didn't think she was coming back. Like it was a clear, like
Goodbye.
left turn that Arya took at that moment,
Yeah.
and it was like, okay, she had like a moment of self realization, and so I knew that she wasn't going to try and like come back and help him. She knew like this was not my path. There's something else out there for me, and she knew that Clegane was going to go down swinging,
So now
and
that
that's how he probably wanted it.
Of course,
Right?
he don't want help taking out his
No.
brother. He wants to do it dolo.
Yeah.
So here's the question: now that Arya is getting in touch with her humanity once again, is
Dick time?
Gendry Dick time back on the table.
It's not off the table.
So yeah, does Arya go back to?
She's gonna come back to
She gonna hit him up with the "you up" text.
Is she gonna,
That's gonna be a meme for sure. Did you guys see the doink meme?
Yo,
on
yeah,
Twitter.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
was sending me that shit. They're like, "Yo, Schulz, they already did it. They already did it." And there was another one I didn't even see. So there's this dance called the Whoa. Do you guys know this dance?
Yeah.
I don't know shit about it.
Haney knows all.
Haney
of it.
knows the Whoa?
Haney got all the dance.
Whoa.
But he goes like this,
The
like this,
dad,
right?
the dad knows the
it's
whoa.
not even a dance. It's just like a movement.
It's a movement,
What's
right?
the move? What's
It's
the, isn't that
like,
what dancing is? Movement.
no,
Yeah.
it's like a single.
so
like 2 seconds,
You know what
though.
the dab is, right?
Of course.
Right, so it's like like that. Like
A
this is so
variation
funny. A
of
bunch
the
of
dab?
30-year-old guys describing
Haney,
dance
let's see it.
moves.
Let's see it.
It's kind of
I
like
don't know.
it's like
No.
it's like that, right?
Oh, you like move into it? You like follow?
no, you just go like that.
my
Like you
God.
just
I get
twist
it.
your
I
hands.
get it.
Doesn't matter.
Don't embarrass yourself
So
anymore.
yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
The four
Thank
of
you.
you
So
are
basically, what
embarrassing.
happens is he goes when Tyrion jumps off the boat, right? He's just trying to go like I'm
does the
falling.
thing.
He
He
hits
does
a
the wave.
mean
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah.
So the joke was actually a double. The meme was, or the
Whoa
gif, whatever
into
was
the
the
doink?
double. It was a whoa into doink. I was like, they're going crazy. Twitter is
Twitter's about to
going crazy, bro.
Peak internet, man.
Yo,
That's
what,
when
and
it's
what
at
if
its
Tyrion
best.
planned it? What if Tyrion was like Loki, a big hip hop fan? He's like, yo, I'm gonna hit the meanest whoa before I hit this water and make zero splash.
Yo, I don't think he's probably ever had to do a stunt in his life, and that was like a big moment for him.
Yeah, and now he just turned into a meme.
A meme.
Yeah,
That's what the internet will do to you.
for sure. Okay, so let's do.
Let's do Tyrion. Do we
Yeah,
do
let's.
Tyrion?
I think let's touch on Tyrion. What do you have? I mean,
What's
I
next
said
for
pretty
him?
much everything.
Well, Tyrion and Jon are going to be tasked with taking down the Mad Queen and dealing with.
So now, then let's just do it. Let's do predictions, right? Because that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
We've talked about everybody who's gone. Now we know who's left. Predictions for next week. Haney, go.
John takes out Danny.
John does it.
Yeah.
Who's on the throne?
John.
How does he take out Danny?
Fuck. Or Tyrion, but John. If it's Tyrion, I'll be pissed because Tyrion hasn't earned it.
Tyrion's
This
made,
season.
made another like critical mistake though. That was like, the other thing
he's
about
like-
his arc.
It's
Yeah.
John. John's on the throne.
Don't count out Sansa on the throne.
Talk to me, Jack. Your
Or
thought.
Sansa. I don't know. She was always, from the very beginning, very drawn to King's Landing. She's learned after everything that she's been through that she's actually good. She's a good, like, when she was at Winterfell before the battle, she was actually logically thinking about a lot of things
Yep.
you have to think about when you're ruling.
Yep.
That even Jon didn't think about.
Yep.
I think Jon doesn't want to rule. He truly doesn't want to. And I feel like he might just go and become King of the North
Yep.
and leave someone. I think either way he's going to do that. Whether
She's the
that's-
Angela Merkel of Westeros. Just a barren woman.
Oh, man.
wanting to rule for ruling's sake.
Yeah. So whether it's Tyrion or Sansa, or maybe Tyrion as Sansa's hand, Jon's going to leave someone out in the aftermath. He's going to take out Dany and then leave someone. To take
Does
it
Jon
over.
make it?
Jon's going to maybe he dies taking out Dany. Maybe.
Okay.
No.
No.
No, John lives.
My
Marquito?
concern is what the show guys said is that they're gonna once it airs, they're gonna like log off of all of social media and not check anything for like 2 weeks. Like they're gonna drop off the face of the
Which means they're worried about the blowback. Which
right,
means it's
which means
predictable
something
as fuck.
happens.
Oh.
Oh, you think that's what it is? I thought like that means like Jon dies.
I just thought that they were like, we're done. Because they said they're going to like Mexico and drink tequila or some shit like that.
No, they literally said
No,
we're-
Acting like they don't got Game of Thrones in Mexico, son. We got New Yorkers in
Yo,
Latvia
right.
beating up Kristaps Porzingis. We gonna find you in Mexico if you fuck up this finale, B. Trust me.
At least get off the continent.
Yeah. You
it
better
really-
go to Westeros. That's gonna be the only place you safe.
Was it really a Knicks fan? Was that
Son,
confirmed?
three
You
Russians.
made that joke.
Nah, deadass. It was 3 Russians that were Knicks fans that weren't having that shit. So you get lumped up.
That's it.
That's what you get lumped up. Where were your Mavs fans protecting you? Nowhere. All right,
He's-
we everywhere.
Has anyone fallen quicker than this is totally? Now we're getting into sports talk. But
No, it's
he's-
okay. You ever see a unicorn bleed?
Have you guys seen the clip he's talking about?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like,
Lumped up.
no one's stock has fallen harder than Porzingis in the last 6 months.
Lumped up. And that
I mean,
punch hit his
it was-
head, B. That means it was a tall guy. He's 7 foot.
Shirt was ripped.
Shirt
too.
was ripped.
Well, that's the other one.
Yeah.
I think
punch
it was
up.
multiple dudes.
One guy on, it was just two dudes on one on the other shoulder.
Yup. One guy. Boom.
Why is he still?
They got
Why
into
is
the
he still
club.
mixing it up? Like, why doesn't he have like guys?
Because
He's
like
in Latvia, man. He wasn't like.
Geez,
he-
have
he-
you-
Yeah,
More
you don't
guys.
you don't have guys. in
real
Latvia.
talk, you should because you get kidnapped out there.
Right.
Absolutely. There's desperation.
It's fucking taken, right?
He got
You saw him,
taken.
like, push
Right?
the girl.
He was
Everybody's
like,
making
she
a big
was, like,
deal.
in his
Yo,
way.
they
He
should-
was like,
that
he's
girl
fired
at
up.
the end of
He's
the
like,
clip. At the end of
Bitch,
the
get
clip.
out the fucking way. I just got snuffed.
At the end of the
For
clip,
real.
she's still next to him. I think he knows the girl. And
Yeah,
he
of
was
course he
around.
knows her.
Yo, they should do.
But they
He
try
had
to
to
make
do the
it
fake
like
hold me back thing. And it just happened to be a girl who was in front of him. And
He's
7
going
foot
like
tall.
this. He was like
Yeah.
pointing, like, do something.
He calls Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban is Liam Neeson. Comes back to get him. Revenge.
Right.
Taken.
All right.
That'd be cool if it ended up being Dolan. That'd be the only thing I would respect.
Oh my god.
If it was Dolan, just fucking rocked him in Latvia, flew right back.
Oh my god.
So then next week, finals predictions.
Mark, what do you think?
It feels like John has to fulfill the prophecy of the prince who was promised. So he's got to be. He's going to somehow take out Danny, and I think that it'll be a situation where he leaves North or dies, but he makes it like some sort of like democracy, and there's no more Iron Throne. That's no longer a thing. That's what I think the whole thing is going to be. That's breaking the wheel.
Okay. So the wheel gets broken. You still get a prince up there. It's John, so it's a little
And
predictable.
then Tyrion and Sansa come up with some sort of like democratic
system?
government.
Interesting. Because Tyrion, my theory is I'm hoping that it's Tyrion just so it's not predictable.
Right.
I think John takes out Danny because he's got to, but now it doesn't even seem that hard. I would have rather he fucked Danny this episode so that killing her next episode would have been that much more devastating.
There is a John Grey Worm fight coming that I think was foreshadowed in this episode.
Oh,
for
now
sure.
we talking because Grey Worm is all in.
He's a
Look.
loyalist. Yeah, he's loyal as fuck.
Because we gotta
His girl
kill
died
these
too,
dudes
right?
because
He
my
doesn't give a
shorty
fuck.
got
He doesn't
killed.
give a fuck at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's it.
He's unhinged. He
So-
went into battle without the helmet on. He's lost all his discipline. I think
He's
that,
unhinged and unsullied.
yeah,
it's
poor fucking guy.
It's okay. So that's the battle. This next one,
He's gonna have
it's
to fight
Grey
Grey Worm
Worm
to get to him.
versus Snow. I don't think Snow ends up killing Danny. Then I think the Grey Worm Snow battle, and I think you might have fucking Arya.
Arya do it again.
Well, Arya do would be really annoying.
No
or
way Arya does
Tyrion.
both killings.
It could be Tyrion, and so then it's another Kingslayer.
Can't
And-
be Tyrion.
Why not?
I'm sorry, can't be Arya. I was meant to say.
Okay, so maybe it's Tyrion. You have another Kingslayer situation, and if you have another Kingslayer, maybe in a weird way it like shifts the perception of the Lannisters, and they get to become good guys. Because after all, shit, life wasn't too good in King's Landing, but it's better being roasted than being roasted by these dragons, right? That's what life was under the Targaryen rule. The Lannisters came in, and they really switched it up and made life okay. Like Westeros really wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
Comparatively speaking.
Well, that's history repeating itself, right? That's what the Lannisters did the last time this
So
happened.
they were heroes. So maybe, what is it they say? Like, you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain,
Well,
right?
now we're getting into Dark Knight, but yeah.
Right? So, but on some real shit, maybe that's what they're saying. And maybe we look back at history and we go, oh shit, this whole time when we thought the Lannisters were these douchebags, they actually kind of saved everybody from Targaryen tyranny.
twice
Twice.
potentially.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe we should look back at Tywin a little differently. Maybe we look back at Cersei a little differently. Maybe Cersei is protecting the realm because she knows how fucked up things could get if these dragon people get on it.
Maybe sometimes capitalists don't want the whole society to go down.
Slow clap. All I'm saying is, I would like to see Tyrion on that throne, or at the very least, Tyrion take out Dany. I just don't want to see Jon on the throne or Jon kill Dany. And if they wanted Jon to kill Dany, they should have had Jon have sex with Dany this episode and be completely loyal so that they could tear it apart the next one. But I feel like there's such a rift between the two, it wouldn't be shocking it wouldn't be gut-wrenching for him to kill her. You know, I
It
want
wouldn't
a
be shocking
gut-wrenching
enough.
death,
Yeah.
you know? I want a death where you're like, with the person that loves her the most, like Jorah.
Oh yeah,
Right?
No,
Like,
didn't I actually text that like Tyrion is like the last guy to be loyal to her, even though I was wrong
Yeah.
because Greyjoy's fucking ride or die.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
Tyrion could very well kill her, and that'll make sense in the show.
and will make up for his trash.
Yeah,
Performance so
Season.
far.
Are
Yeah.
we ruling out the final theory of Bran warging into a dragon and killing Daenerys that way?
Oh, whoa. That's where Bran comes back.
He
Bran
can't
is going
kill
to
her
have
though.
to
She's
do this.
unburned. She can't be lit by
You're
a
right.
dragon
You're right.
fire. Yeah.
You are right.
But she's not unbitten.
Yo, I don't want to see Bran again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like do whatever, man. Go right off. I don't want to see Bran. Like, what? Like,
He's got to be doing something.
yo, I want to see like at this point. I don't want to see Bran warg into anything.
I could see
he
him-
should have did it 2 episodes ago. Like, let it fucking go.
I feel like he could warg into the dragon to save Jon or something like that.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that could happen.
Why didn't he warg into Cersei and ring that bell?
Or why didn't he warg into the
Well,
dragon
that's what
to
I'm
stop
saying.
it from destroying
Why wouldn't he have
all
done
the-
this a long time ago?
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying. Like,
Why
I don't
do you
want to
warg-
see Bran.
Bran's a little stunad.
Bran's probably out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. I don't want to see Bran. Let's see Jon
He's
and Grey
gotta,
Worm
like,
go
go
man to man.
Post up in a tree somewhere now, right? Isn't
He
that
is
what
a
you
tree.
do when the 3-eyed Ravens get
He's a
nothing
tree.
else to do?
When
Yeah.
they go back, he's just
You
a tree.
become the tree. No, it was like the original
Yeah,
3-eyed.
yeah,
He was like
yeah.
stuck in the tree, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I just don't want a predictable ending. That is my goal. I'm going with Tyrion on the throne.
Tyrion's a nice twist.
Tyrion on the throne.
Tyrion
I don't
or
like it.
Sansa,
Tyrion's
it's going to be a
nice twist.
combo of the two.
Yes, yeah. No matter what combo the two,
Yeah.
and because they foreshadowed it in the slightest way when they were in the crypt.
Yep.
And they were talking about like, we could have been a good couple, but it would have never worked. This, that, the other.
yeah.
Maybe they work something out where they're like, look, this marriage shit, it ain't about fucking. We got
about
whores for
ruling.
that. It's
Right.
about ruling. We would rule best together. You want to just do it as homies? As corny as that sounds, I find that maybe they
Marriage
could.
of convenience,
A marriage like there aren't.
right?
Right.
He could get back to his whore shit. Sansa is a pimp now, so she got the hookup on a horse.
Tyrion's been celibate since Shay.
You're
Still
right.
hasn't
Correct.
like, fucked in like 4 seasons.
He's in a little bit of a cold spell.
That's why he's losing his powers.
That's why
He needs whores.
Well,
He needs whores.
he's gonna lose that. He's lost now that optimism that he had before, right?
That
was
whores
the-
give you.
Well, yes.
That whore optimism.
Well, it's kind of like the whore nepotism, though, right? Not nepotism.
Whore nepotism.
Pessimism. Sorry.
Whore pessimism.
Yes, that's normal, I think.
Tell us about your whore pessimism.
I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck whore nepotism
Because
is.
you kind of like hate yourself afterwards, right? So there's like that kind of like self-loathing.
I don't know.
And then it makes you want to do good. So maybe he's like liking
Right.
himself too much these last few seasons. Letting that hair
we
grow.
know that was the problem.
Yeah, he needs that whore pessimism.
He needs it back.
That whore pee.
He needs that emptiness inside.
He was too full.
He was too full.
And he's easy to fill. He's tiny.
He's a little guy.
He's a little guy.
You know what I mean?
Him just floating like a bobber until he hit the sand. I wish they showed that part after he
God.
jumped off. Do midgets need to swim? I feel like
I'm
they
sorry.
could
What
float.
are you asking?
Swim?
Can they?
Buoyant?
Can they swim?
No, but do they need to? I feel like they could float, right? Like they're like little boogie boards. No?
Yo, I for some
Honestly,
reason,
throw one in
I
the water.
100% understand what he's saying.
If you throw it in
I
the water,
100%
you really
understand
think
what
they're
he's
going to the
saying. Just
bottom?
No,
They go like this. They go like this. They go boop, and then
Sure.
pop up like
They're
that.
very-
But
They're
aren't
dense.
most people bounce?
What?
Aren't buoyant enough to do that?
Man, people drowned all the time.
I'm drowning. If I
That's with current. There's a lot of
No, in a pool. Even babies drown, but I don't think midgets drowned.
Yeah, I don't think
I
so
think it's
either.
too much stomach area. I think there's something about
yeah, but what about the heavy?
the thighs.
it's not. No, there's nothing. It's just
What about the
all
heavy head, though?
nugget.
Don't rule out the heavy head.
What?
The big head.
The heavy head. That's a good point.
The head is going straight.
That head. You know what they might do? They might go head first and legs in the air. That's how they might float. They might drown legs in the sky.
No, but it's like a
think
set-
about
no,
it.
no, no, no.
They go in legs first, and then they just turn over like a canoe. You know how those canoes always end up on the top.
They always end up right side up.
That's what a midget is, but upside down.
This mental image in your head. I feel
doesn't get
so
it yet.
sorry.
No, I have
You
an
know
opposite
exactly
one.
what it
The
is,
funniest
dude.
shit.
It's just like when you put lollipops in the freezer to freeze. The stick
they end
to
up-
take it out. That's what midgets look like when you throw them in the
They
ocean.
just do permanent handstands.
It's a permanent handstand, and you're like, "Where are you digging for clams?" Like you go and you tap them on the feet. You're like, "Hey, were you digging for clams?" And then you turn it over. It's just some dead midget. Like, "Oh shit, he's been dead this whole fucking time. This is crazy. No one checked on Tyrion." They're like, "I thought he was doing a handstand out there. He's been."
Went for the
Well, we don't
record.
know how he's been found the last 7 times he's blacked out. Like every time there's a big set piece, usually the cop out is Tyrion blacks out and then wakes up.
And
it's all
wakes
gone.
up.
So maybe every time he just ends up like feet up in the water.
Feet up in the water. You wouldn't yet, dude. That's the thing. Feet up in the water, and he can be underneath that water for as long as he wants. Did you know that? Did you know that, Marco?
He learned that from Gilly.
Yeah, Gilly taught him. Gilly taught him. She taught him everything he knows, bro.
Oh my god.
What?
This went off the rails pretty quickly.
Dude, we're getting to the bottom of this, bro. Like, there's a reason. There's a reason for all things. All right, I think that's. I mean, those are my predictions. Anything else before we get out of here, guys?
I had a question.
Go.
When the dragon was flying over King's Landing,
Yeah.
it showed the shadow first before the dragon came in. Was that the same image that we've seen in the past?
Oh,
So say that again?
Like when the dragon's flying over King's Landing,
Oh, who
you
had
see
that
the
vision?
shadow.
Who had that vision?
Bran had the vision, right?
Oh yeah.
I thought it was Cersei. Or
Someone
no.
had a vision, right?
Yeah,
but I remember
yeah.
in the trailer, like it was like a huge thing, like yo, there's a dragon flying over King's Landing.
The
Or
vision,
was
Danny-
that the
Danny-
the vision
same-
was Danny's dream, in the
yeah.
hut when
Yeah.
the witch.
Yeah,
made her
you're
see
right.
that shit.
Was that the same image?
Probably.
It's
I
similar.
would probably-
You know,
or
look, they
was it
shot
just
it
similar?
4 seasons ago, so they probably
Right. I think they just borrowed footage from the Chernobyl doc that they have coming out, and that's what they threw it in.
Yo,
They
did you guys
doubled
watch
that.
Chernobyl, by the way?
No.
I got Chernobyl right though.
Why?
If you noticed
My only
on the
question.
pronunciation.
It's
Why
on?
is everybody British in Chernobyl?
But you wanted them to have Russian accents?
They're in Chernobyl. It's all British actors.
Chernobyl's an actual place.
It's a good
thought it was
point.
like an event.
No, Chernobyl. It was in Chernobyl,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hence the name.
but it's in Ukraine. Why do none of the actors have a Ukrainian accent? They're all British.
I haven't watched it yet.
Wait,
It looks
it's
depressing.
out already?
Like, the first episode came out, I watched it. I could barely get through it because I was like, "Are we in England or are we in Ukraine?"
I don't like that either. I think that they have to do an English accent or American accent. No,
Ukrainian accent.
accent, but speak English.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
do with the like. Okay, don't give me subtitles. They speak English, but throw in a fucking Ukrainian accent.
Yeah, I don't like this English accent one bit.
Yeah, they have like Cockney accents and they're talking about the Chernobyl disaster.
I just figured it out, guys.
What?
I don't think a midget can do a handstand at all. I don't know
I don't
if
think
the
so
arms
either.
go up high enough. It's more of a headstand. And then the hands end up being like the supportive wheels on a kid bike. You know, like if
the training wheel.
Yeah, training wheel. Like if you're turning this, you know what I mean? Like I think that's it. Guys, this has been another episode of Westerbros. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tell your people, tell the world. We got one more episode of Game of Thrones. We will be with you next week immediately afterwards. And let's pray for good things, man. Let's pray for good things. Peace.